Welcome, everyone, to the fifth episode of Inside the Den, where we discuss everything to do with the WSU Varsity Club women's and men's team. Our special guest today is Sarah Plummer. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Sarah, David Durock nominated you or tagged you to be the next guest athlete. What does it mean to you that David tagged you?
That was really pretty special. We all see how hard David works, all the effort he puts in so many different ways, and just his love for the sport. And that's really special to be picked to go next by him.
David talked about, kind of finally learning to really love and enjoy competing, right? And I think about that a lot. Just looking back on this season, did you kind of start finding your love and joy of competing? Did you always have it? Is it something you still have to kind of work on?
That's definitely something that's always been really big for me. I think that's the reason I stuck with the sport at all. I mean, my first season in high school, I lost every single match, like barely even got points. And
Yeah,
I just really, really loved competing.
yeah.
And that's only grown coming to this team because just the environment is somewhere that just makes you happy to be there.
Oh, I agree. So before we get too much further in, I want to thank all of the donors, sponsors, parent volunteers, WSU staff, but everyone who has made either like a human contribution or a monetary contribution. Thank you so much for supporting this men's and women's wrestling program. All the hours you spend, the effort, the financial support is tremendous. This is a great team to invest in. And right now, a place where you can invest is coming up this Saturday. We're just a couple days away. July 22nd is the golf tournament, the banquet, and the reunion. And so that is a place where, there's tickets and things that you can register to sign up for. You can do that at events.handbid.com. And you can go through there and you'll find the WC Wrestling event. And you can get all the information about the golf tournament, sponsoring, donating, the banquet. The other place that you can find us right now is WSU underscore wrestling on Instagram. And of course, right on the Washington State University recreation website, that's UREC, that's urec.wsu.edu. And if you just want to find head coach Phil Burnett, you can always reach him at his email, phil.burnett@wsu.edu. Okay, let's do the vital signs on Sarah Plummer. Sarah, where'd you go to high school? Like, when did you start wrestling? Let's just do those two right now.
Okay. I went to Baker High School in Baker City, Oregon.
Nice.
And I didn't start wrestling until my junior year of high school. So I'd only had 2 seasons prior to college.
Sarah, that is incredible. You've only had 2 years prior to coming to WSU. Wow. Okay. And remind me where Baker's, where is that in
Baker
Oregon?
City, it's Eastern Oregon, rural Eastern Oregon. If you remember our Mountaineer Open tournament in
Yeah.
La Grande, that's about 45 minutes from where I live.
Oh, so I mean, well, I live in the Tri-Cities, so that's not super far, but I didn't
Mhm.
realize it's so close. So how does an Oregon girl find her way to Washington State University?
Well, I don't know. Things kind of just kept working out. Um, it just kind of got better and better. I'd visited just kind of we were passing through, and I really liked the campus. And then
Yeah.
I started looking up majors, and I hadn't super decided, but I was thinking I wanted to do athletic training. And it was one of only a few universities that has a 5 years master's for that,
Mhm.
which is kind of hard to find. And so that worked out. And then I was feeling kind of down my senior year. I was like, man, I really wish I'd started wrestling earlier so I could do it in college. And then I was just kind of Googling like places. And I was like, whoa, there's a wrestling program here. And I looked and I saw that there were women. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. And so I emailed Coach Burnett, Coach Phil, it was really kind of an uninspiring email. It pretty much just said like, look, I'm really not very good at this, but I'd really, really like to come and wrestle here. Um, yeah, but things just
And
kind of
what was
kept
his
working out.
response?
He gave me a call and talked for like an hour, which it shows what kind of a guy he is to
Yeah.
really he's always believed in all of us, and that was really cool to have him like call me up and be like, yeah, we'd love to have you come wrestle here.
He puts out a really good welcome mat, doesn't he? And he means it. He does care about you. He cares about you all well before he cares about, the wrestling. He cares about you as people, and he cares about your academics and how you're doing in school. And so remind me, Sarah, what are you, a sophomore, junior going into WSU?
I will be a sophomore next year. It was my first season, the first year.
Okay, and what do you think? I mean, great. We have a freshman to discuss their first year at WSU. What was like, if you were going to tell, someone who's thinking about coming to WSU for academics, and they're also thinking about turning out for the club team, what are you telling people about WSU right now?
Well, if they're going to do wrestling, you really don't have to worry so much about the academics because you know you're going to have a bunch of support from the team, which was so much greater than I expected, even. Like Coach Phil talks about it, but like when I actually came, it's amazing. Like there are so many people from so many different majors and people that are just happy to help you with stuff. And just it takes a lot of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Um, but even the school itself has great resources for academics too. Um, so I never really felt like I was drowning at all.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, you kind of mentioned going on the campus, and it's a nice campus. It really is. I think people will be so surprised. We think out in this agricultural community, you go over this hill, and then boom. Not only is there a large state school, but it actually really is quite a nice and beautiful campus. When I come up there and visit you guys, every time I'm like, oh, I forgot what a nice campus it is. And so, and tell me, you're actually in Pullman right now, correct?
I am.
And how are you spending your time in Pullman this summer?
Well, I got a job working for a moving company, so
Nice.
I'm trying to stay in shape, I guess, that way. But yeah, just kind of hanging out,
Are
doing
you double
that. But
legging some refrigerators, appliances? I'd like to see that. I'd like to see a shoulder throw of, somebody's personal items. They don't want to see that. I kind of would like to. Okay, so and you said it's hot there right now because I know I'm in the Tri-Cities, and I think we're over 100 degrees today.
oh man, yeah, that's probably hotter than here. I just like complaining about the heat.
Okay. All right. So let's also talk about the fact that you have joined um you're one of the team officers, and just talk with me a little bit about your decision to become a team officer.
It seemed really like a logical step for me, because I've this team has come to mean a lot to me, and I'd really love to be a part of like moving it forward and seeing what else we can do. And yeah, it just seemed like the right thing to go ahead and do. I'm
Yeah,
always happy to put in some time. I mean, Coach Phil puts in so much time. Like, I don't think any of us could ever come close to doing that, but
I
as
can.
much as we can help, we do.
Yeah, no, he I'm not sure many people can do what Coach Phil and Coach Susan do. I think the WSU program is so, you know, I don't know, what do we say? Lucky, grateful, appreciative. Somebody smiling down on us. I'm not really sure what it is, but there is definitely a consistent sentiment of gratitude and appreciation for Phil and Susan. But Sarah, it was still a choice. You didn't have to step into a leadership role, and you did. So to your point, that just shows, how much the program means to you. How do you see things kind of moving forward? If you feel comfortable sharing, are there some big kind of ticket items for next season that the student officers want to see? Like, what's the goal?
We haven't had a big like goal setting meeting or anything yet. We'll do a lot more when we all get back in the fall.
Yeah,
But I mean, we all know that we're going to have a lot bigger roster. We're going to be managing just a really big team and some new opportunities with the varsity status as well, which is really awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got different practice times and different people that we're working with, I think, with UREC,
Yep.
and just a lot more opportunities for us to pursue. So it'll be really great to kind of work through that and see what we can do.
Yeah. I think just kind of with like some of the other athletes that we've already had on the show, the podcast Inside the Den. Everyone and I noticed it too, how as a club being able to have consistent regular practice times versus scrambling every day where we're going to have practice, the fact that you guys have a dedicated facility right there on campus, new mats are coming. What is a week like in practice for someone who's thinking of coming to WSU and wrestling for the club?
It's pretty consistent practices. I mean, we have 2-hour practices, or this past season we did like 4 days a week, and then kind of an optional Friday practice where um, Coach Phil would be gone, but we'd usually have the assistant coaches step in, or it would be student led. And it was a great day to just work on stuff. Then we also had our morning workouts a couple times a week, which is really awesome. I wasn't able to make it to all those, but it was really awesome that we had that opportunity. Hopefully we will again.
Who's the person that's running those morning workouts for you?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. James would know better about that.
Okay.
I think that they're um
Is this
from
a strength coach or is this just wrestling happening at the wrestling room?
no, it's a strength coach.
Okay. Yeah.
They've gone through and done like really detailed programs for us to do, just different lifting and stuff, which is awesome that they're putting in that effort.
I'm kind of hoping the next time when you guys are all up there and I can come up and visit, I kind of want to be a fly on the wall for that. Not that I want to join in, but I have to get in a little better shape to do that. But yeah, I want to come and I'm kind of hoping that we can get that person to do an episode with us so we can talk about their involvement with WSU wrestling. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can make that happen. I think it's just really cool. You have somebody that wants to do that kind of work with you, often with clubs and or just an athlete or just a student on campus. You got to do all those workouts and things on your own. You have to figure it out. So to have somebody who's invested in you guys and helping you, I think is really, really special. And I hope they enjoy working with you. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I would. We gotta have that person come to a wrestling practice and teach them some wrestling.
I think so. That would be awesome.
I think we need to invite that person to come to wrestling practice and we'll show them some takedowns and some pinning combinations. So let's talk a little bit about Puerto Rico. First of all, is that the first time that you had been out of the continental United States?
It is.
The first time? Okay. What did you think of all the travel and all the, you know, getting
It
the,
was fun.
the flights and the rental cars and the this and the that? What was that experience like for you?
It was all just really interesting and new. I
Yeah.
haven't done that like extent of travel before.
Mhm.
It's always so much more fun with a team though. Like when you're by yourself, it's like the layovers and stuff are pretty terrible. But when
Yeah.
you're with an entire wrestling team, like there's always somebody to talk to or something to do.
Yeah, we had a humdinger of a layover and a flight situation on the return. Uh,
Uh,
remember that?
I think I'm pretty sure it was Puerto Rico where I got sick like on the way back, like
Oh, you
fairly
did.
sick.
You did.
So I'm like sitting there and just like so out of it. I've like taken like some kind of drowsy medicine. At one point I think I was just like asleep on the floor in the airport.
Sounds about right. Yeah, you had developed quite a good like sinus head cold. Uh, nothing. There really is nothing better than being on a plane with right now. So who's got that sinus head cold? Uh, but yeah, that was that return, all the layovers, and then the flights getting all directed this way and that. I'd like to say that that's not normal, but almost every wrestling trip I think I've ever taken, there's been what I call a travel kerfuffle like that. And that was pretty cool. Like, oh, I can do this all day, like this just feels normal. But yeah, I forgot that you had been sick. Um, uh, so what did you, nationals, what's your overall impression? Well, yeah, just what's your overall impression of nationals, the team, the women, the crowd? Uh, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was just an awesome experience. There's something kind of special about just being somewhere completely like out of your element and different like that. Because
Yeah,
it's like all of a sudden it's like really real. It's like you're here to wrestle and it's like, okay, like I'm ready to go now.
yeah,
'Cause it's just so different. Uh, and just the presence that WSU wrestling had at that tournament, like fans and our team, like it was amazing. I mean, we'd have somebody on the mat and like the whole like bleachers down that side would just be people cheering for our team. And that was really awesome. I think a lot of the people were surprised by that were there.
yeah. We had quite a presence. We were I don't want to say we were a mob, because that sounds like we were chaotic and not under control. But I would say we were the dominant force, in that
For sure.
environment, and I loved it. I loved that we were the dominant force. We were everywhere. Nobody could turn in any direction and not like one of us was like right there. Like remember the warm up area, right?
Yeah.
Up area there was like we're all over the place. All around the mat there we were just everywhere. They couldn't get away from us. They were everywhere. Okay, so let's talk about our girl Julie Wilson making it through to the finals, and just how amazing it was to have one of our women make it into the finals. And what was that experience like for you as a teammate, as a wrestler, watching her make it, that distance into the tournament?
Oh, it was awesome. It's just so cool, like knowing the work that Julie puts in and seeing just like all the knowledge, like when she's showing us stuff in the wrestling room, like just
Yeah,
everything she knows and all of that experience and all of that hard work. And then you get to like see her actually like go after somebody, and
yeah,
it's awesome.
yeah.
We were just all so excited, men and women's teams. We were watching, we were all just so excited.
Yeah. What does it mean to you to really have so much support and excitement, from not just the women on the team, but also from the men?
That's everything. I mean, that's not something that happens with all wrestling programs. I mean, there's a lot where it's just completely separate. It's like they don't even like interact.
Yeah.
And our team, it's just a huge family, and it's like everybody supports everybody.
Yeah.
No matter what level you're at, men or women, just everyone is always there for you, and that's really, really special.
There is a real we always talk about our team being family, a sport being family. And I know a lot of programs, whether it's a youth club, high school, college, whatever the case may be, everyone is kind of striving for that. And I think WSU wrestling has figured out, the magic ingredients, because it really, really is. It is so impressive to watch how you all are with each other and how much you support each other. And I don't remember who I said this to, but pretty much all the men and women, on the WSU team right now, let's just, pretend or assume that you'll all have families or young people in your life, and you'll probably get them all involved in wrestling. And some of the women are going to have boys, and some of the men are going to have daughters. And this is a great group that's going to be able to support their own kids in wrestling. I feel like everyone in that room can support, be a coach and coach boys or girls, whatever the case may be. Is coaching something that's going to be on your radar when you down the road after you get your master's and start looking for life away from college?
We'll see. That would be a long time down the road, but
Yeah.
definitely something I'd be interested in.
Yeah. Well, if my daughter was wrestling, I would want her to be around you, Sarah. So I hope that that's something that you keep in the back of your mind. Okay, let's talk about school. Uh, Tell everyone. So you're getting, what specific degree are you getting right now?
So I just finished my first year, so I'm doing sports medicine.
Okay.
So this program, you end up at the end of the 5 years, you end up with a bachelor's in, I think, sports medicine and then a master's in athletic training, which
Okay.
is like the requirement to practice.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
So
so I'll
are you
actually apply to my major this year.
this year? Okay.
And I think they let about 20 people in. It's a pretty small major compared to a lot of the ones at Wazoo.
Uh-huh. So are you still in the classroom phase? You're not in the hands-on phase. You have to get accepted into that. And then you're just
Yeah,
learning to tape those big football ankles and things like that. Is that what we're looking at?
some of that, yeah. I'll start having like observation hours next year, and then
Okay.
after that, I'll start actually getting to do stuff with
More
patients and
hands-on.
people.
So what type of sport athlete would you like to be an athletic trainer for? I,
I'm not
I
sure. There's a lot of different options with it.
have one option.
I
Wrestling.
think it would be really cool to work with wrestlers because I feel like wrestlers are notoriously bad about actually like treating injuries. And that's definitely changing, which is great. But
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a need for that. Um, Something else I've kind of thought about is maybe working at high schools, because that's definitely kind of an underserved population right now.
Yeah.
There's so many people that get just really bad, just life altering injuries in high school that it's like they didn't treat something and it just bothers them their entire life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's like if they could have talked to an AT, like right then, they probably would have fixed it and never had a problem again.
Yeah. Good. I'd love to see you in high school. I think you would be great with that like age group. And the other thing that's cool, obviously, about high school is just you get to work with all different kinds of athletes, right? Golf,
Hmm.
tennis, football, cross country. So you get to work with all different kinds of athletes and all different kinds of sports. Of course, I definitely would want you to be point person for wrestling when wrestling season comes up. And yeah, you're right. Wrestlers, we're horrible at taking care of ourselves. And we hurt ourselves frequently. So yeah, I would love to see you spending some time taking care of Bobby at Nationals with his eye. I want to see Sarah, I want to see Sarah cleaning up faces and wrapping up heads, and I want to see you in that for sure. What do you think of that? From knowing what your like career and academic pathway is, what did you think of Bobby's situation?
Oh man, Bobby is always beat up. You see him after every tournament. I mean, he's always got like two black eyes and like random gashes and stuff. I mean, I don't think anybody was surprised, but
I mean, we
ouch.
had we had two athletes with the big cut over their eyes. I mean, they were kind
I
of
think we've got pictures of them next to each other just
we do.
matching.
We do. I have them. I think we need a team poster, a recruiting poster. um just share you know being a freshman on campus, new to everything, starting with the team, not knowing anyone, uh, and then where you feel like you ended up by like the end of the season and the end of the school year, and just like how much you think you developed, maturity and getting better at wrestling. Like, what are the things where you're like, wow, I really got so much better at these things? What would those things be?
I mean, with wrestling, pretty much everything. I mean, I started where I had a whole lot of things to learn. I still have a lot of things to learn, but I feel like just all around I improved in pretty much everything.
You really did.
And it
Absolutely.
was really exciting to see that progress in myself
Yeah.
and have coaches that were like excited to help me with that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, no, I have to say, Sarah, every time I watch, oh my gosh, my excitement level watching you wrestle, especially your single leg attack and how much that improved over the course of the season. And I could see you building some confidence with it. And I was every time like, oh, let's see what she can do with it this time. And oh, every match, love it. And I can't wait to see, that continued progression, moving into next season. And to your point, by most people's standards, you're still pretty new to wrestling. Only
Hmm.
two high school years is just a drop in the bucket. In a lot of ways, you could really take off right now because you're hungry. You didn't have like 15 years of beating your body up and all the weight management and the really the highs and lows of wrestling. So you may have an advantage, over these next couple of years with just still being kind of new. And what does it mean to you that we have a club environment where, regardless of where your development, everyone's in a different development place? And so, what does it mean to you that to know that we can take wrestlers with a little or very little experience and have them be a part of the team?
I mean, that's just unheard of, like in college programs, for one thing. Like, that is just so cool. But it's really great, and it shows really just how good some of the people on the team are too, that they have that maturity where they are willing to work with people that aren't at the same level they are and are just excited to show different moves and stuff. I mean, a lot of our practices aren't just coach telling us what to do. A lot of it's like, here, let's watch this person show a move,
Hmm.
or they've got a tip on this. They'll be walking around if you want some help.
Yeah,
And it's
nice.
just everybody makes everybody else better, and that's very cool.
That is great. Let's Speaking of learning stuff, and what did you think about, was this your first real big year of like doing freestyle a little bit more?
I had never done freestyle before this year.
Okay. And I mean, what's your feedback on freestyle?
I love it. I wish that all our tournaments were freestyle.
Yeah, and
It it's so fun.
for people who don't know, explain to them like what the season is like between freestyle and folk style.
So we generally start off the season with more freestyle events. So our open tournaments where we have like teams outside of like the NCWA, those tournaments we get to wrestle freestyle. And then kind of moving later into the season, the NCWA events are all folk style.
Correct.
Um,
Yeah.
though we did, was it at state this year or was it national duels? They also had a freestyle day the next day, which was really cool. I don't think they've done that before.
National duels in
National duels. Yep.
in Arizona. Yeah. Um yeah, so um for anyone who kind of doesn't know women's collegiate wrestling that well, NAIA is we talk about our uh, really big recognizable, like organizations. NAIA has women's wrestling and it's freestyle. NCAA divisions 1, 2, and 3 is working on women's wrestling and those are freestyle. I'm pretty sure JUCO nationals for the junior colleges for women is also freestyle. So, obviously the hope moving forward for the NCWA is they start making plans to shift our organization over to freestyle. I think that would make a lot of sense, but the organization has to, start putting those discussions together. But I really feel that if WSU is we're a very strong leader in the NCWA, and I can see us being a leader having those conversations. What do you think, Sarah? Do you want to be a leader having those conversations?
Yes.
And you can't be because you're on student council. What's your position on student council?
I'm the women's team manager.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know I was talking to the women's team manager. I didn't realize. I've met the women's team captain and Julie Wilson. Tyson Russell is the vice president. Uh,
Hmm.
and Kobe Bowie is the like our social media marketing communications person. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
And so I've met some folks. I have not yet done an episode with the president of the the team council. But I will have to make sure that I have special things ready for that conversation with the president. Okay, so let's um what else are you doing this summer? So you're working with the moving company. Are you able to train? Like what's, are you able to go for runs, get in the weight room? What else, how else are you
I've been I've been running. I haven't been going to the gym. I didn't really want to pay the fee to use the rec center over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, initially I was thinking about it, but then I procrastinated. And by the time that I looked it up, I realized it was a set fee for the whole summer. And I was like, well, now that it's only a month and a half left, like I
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get some runs in for cardio. And then honestly, working at the moving company is really pretty good strength training. I've definitely gotten a lot stronger since starting there.
I would say so. I still want to see a video of you like like lifting a refrigerator or doubling in a box or something like that. I think we need to see a video of you doing that. Um so let's talk about the coaching staff real fast. So we've talked a little bit about Coach Phil. We'll talk about Coach Susan, Coach Cam, Coach Hunter. There's this lady named Coach Andrea. You can talk about her a little bit. But just talk about the coaching staff for people who may be thinking about coming to WSU.
Yeah, so all the coaches have been like super welcoming, just like Phil. And all of them have been very happy to work with me and work with everybody. Especially Coach Cameron. I've really appreciated him this season.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of work with the women's team on stuff. He really has a knack for just explaining things in a way that just really clicks for me. And I really appreciated having him coach.
Great. Well, Coach Cam, one of the I've said it before, I'll say it again. He's steady. I just feel like he's steady. Like some of us can with coaching, we can start to get a little weird and crazy. Cam is very steady, and he may not be steady on the inside, but he's steady. It's just like I can kind of look to him and be like, oh, okay, everything's all right. All right, Cam's not freaking out. Like, oh, and the other thing that's so great about him is just like as matches are going on, being able to have these little conversations like, hey, what do you see? Whatever. And he's super great. Anyone that is corner coaching or in the practice room should be so lucky to have someone like Coach Cam. And he's coming back again for another year, right?
I believe so. That's awesome.
Isn't he's getting his another degree or another master's or another something?
I think so. I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. Well, he'll have to be one of our next episodes of Coffee with a Coach. And we'll find out all the future plans with him because he's another engineering major, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of I feel like we have a lot of engineering majors.
It's a really high proportion. I was not expecting that.
I know, same. I'm like, whoa, we have I remember hearing like engineering, architecture, computer science, a lot of computer
Yep.
science. And when I ask about computer science, I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, gaming. Of course, because esports and gaming it really is going to be, it has been, is, and will continue to be a huge part of, like computers and society and, whatever. And so yeah, I hear a lot about, wanting to get involved in gaming. What are some other majors that we have? What are people, some business, I think we got a political science in there.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. I feel like there's someone that has some sort of environmental degree, one of the
Okay.
women. I can't remember.
Okay.
Uh, we had one of our seniors graduate in math education last year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. He's going to go and be a teacher coach. Right. Um, so Sarah, are you going to be at the golf tournament, banquet and reunion this weekend?
I am. I'm heading down on Friday.
Oh, cool. So am I. Are you golfing?
I am not. I've never gone golfing ever. I don't think anybody wants to see
Oh, I do. I think I might want to see it.
that.
Yeah, I'm not golfing either. I have swung a club. I went through a small golf phase, right around the time that Tiger Woods was really just like exploding on the scene. And But you know, kind of my running joke is it safe for wrestlers to be out on a golf course with golf
That's
clubs?
a good question to ask.
You know, is that a good idea with golf clubs and like you know, I, I just feel like there's going to be some wrestling matches that break out, you know, in the rough or on the green or, you know, at the pin, whatever we call it. It just seems like we're asking for a little bit of trouble. I think some of them are going to golf, but I'm not golfing. I'll be
I'm
back.
very curious to see who actually golfs on the team because it's really hard to picture wrestlers golfing.
It kind of is. It's yeah, it's a hard image for me to put together. Now, there's going to be some competitions like longest drive, closest to the pin, things like that, and I'm really wondering, you know, if any of the wrestlers will get like, you know, longest whatever drive or whatever. So I don't know, we'll see what happens with that, but um one of the things I'm really excited for is they're going to have an auction, like a silent auction, you know, where we've got prizes and awards and cool things, and then you get to go and the highest bidder wins the item. And you may have to keep me back from that table. Maybe my husband will, because that's my favorite thing to do is and then the banquet, it's going to have really good barbecue. And this golf location is supposed to, I mean, like I kind of went online. It looks like it's in a beautiful area.
Oh,
So
good.
I think we're gonna have a good time this weekend. I think it's gonna be great fun. And I don't know, maybe we can get you to help drive a golf cart or something.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds more your speed. I'm just gonna be back at the clubhouse, just hanging out, socializing, doing whatever Coach Phil and Coach Susan asked me to do. Um, Sarah, do you have any like moving forward into the wrestling season? Do you have ideas about what your goals will be next season?
Hmm. I need to sit down and write some things out. I haven't gotten to it yet,
Yeah,
but I would just love to keep the momentum I have from last year, just moving, just getting better. I
yeah,
felt like wrestling at nationals, like I lost my matches, but I felt like I wrestled better than I had at all previous to that. And I
yeah.
just felt like something really was starting to click. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can just kind of keep that momentum going.
Good. I think that's a great attitude. And you know, summertime is often a time where, you know, we're trying to you know, a lot, you know, as Coach Phil was talking about, so, you know, a lot of you are working, you're working for the moving company right now, you know, you're trying to save money for school, some are doing internships, and you're trying to fit training and things, you know, as you're trying to squeeze training and things in between all this other stuff. And so it's kind of an interesting time for students and student athletes, and it's also a time to rest. You know, there's just to just rest and go do some fun things that, you know, maybe you can't do during the school year or the season. And when you get back to the beginning of school, yeah, I highly recommend you just start, you know, maybe we can all help you on the coaching staff with just some weekly goals, some monthly goals, some year-long goals. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you did have amazing kind of like peaking and momentum going into nationals. And if you're able to pick right up from there, um, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see, you know, over the course of all the months. And, um, you know, I think we might have some really good opportunities this year to have some events on campus. I hope we do. I hope we're able to show all the, you know, WSU students, the women's and men's team. We're looking at like almost, I think Coach Phil already told us, but I've forgotten. It's like almost 20 women on the roster right now moving forward. I think over 40 guys. And that doesn't even count the number of athletes that we'll get once school starts.
Yeah. There's always a lot of people that just kind of hear about it, or we run into people that look like wrestlers sometimes, and we're like, hey, you look like maybe you might want to come
Do you go
join.
around checking ears like, hey, did you wrestle? You look fit. Do you wrestle? Do you, you know, oh gosh, right now her name is escaping me. But you know, do you plan on wearing your WSU wrestling shirt, you know, like every day walking around campus? What's your plan for recruiting?
I don't know. I just kind of bring it up. That's like my one interesting thing to say. I'm like, oh yeah, I wrestle. And usually you find somebody else that did too.
That's a really good one. Oh yeah, Russell. It's an icebreaker, right? You go to a party or something at campus, or when the professor asks, everyone go around, say a little something about you, and you say, "Oh, I wrestle for the WSU Varsity Club wrestling team."
I do think we need to start getting some WSU wrestling tank tops though.
Oh,
The sweaters and the shirts are a little warm for the beginning of the year.
well, isn't Kobe in charge of that?
Something like that. I know he's working on all sorts of stuff like that.
I think he's in charge of merch.
Awesome.
So we should
I'll have to send an email his way, like
yeah, tell
to
me
get
what
some
tanks.
summer stuff.
We want tanks. We want to show the muscles. We want to stay cool in those warmer months. Yeah, I want to see what the merch is going to be because I want something for the over 50 crowd. I want some stuff. I also want some WSU wrestling dog items.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Because we have a lot of like everyone else, we have plenty of like alumni, parents, athletes, coaches that have dogs, and I think we need to have our own WC wrestling dog page, Instagram. Why not? We'll see some interesting things, I'm sure. So are you just in Pullman the whole rest of the summer? Like that's, and you got any fun trips planned, camping?
I think I'm gonna do some camping after the golf tournament since I'm all the way over there anyway.
Yeah.
I figured I would do that. I have about a week off work.
So like what, Mount Rainier or
I haven't decided yet. I just started working on it. I think I'm gonna go up to the San Juan Islands for a little bit.
oh. So are you like a hiker? Do you
Not too
hike and
much.
camp, or do you like to car camp? Are you more like a car camper?
I'm kind of a car camping kind of a person.
Okay. Me too. I mean, I've done the hike camp before, but I had a lot of people helping me. I didn't have to like think about how to do anything. I just followed and did what I was told. So yeah, I'm definitely more of a car camper. Now, little known fact about um Sarah and I've been waiting for quite a while to talk with you about this, but Sarah and I both have a love of IKEA
Yes.
and IKEA items. And if at all possible, Sarah and I we still need to try before school starts to maybe figure out a way to go to IKEA together.
Yes, no one else has patience for me in IKEA. Like my parents, no way. Like they're like, we're not taking her there. She's gonna spend 6 hours wandering
Oh
around.
yes. Oh, Sarah. So like, what's your process? What's your process when you go to IKEA?
I just follow the arrows. I just go nice and slow. I just look at every single item ever, and yeah.
So I like to go to the cafeteria to start because I'm gonna
I
have the
still haven't done that. The last couple times I've been there, there's one day a week that they're closed, and it's fallen on that day when I've been there the last couple times.
the cafeteria's closed.
I think it's like one day a week. It might just be the location that in Portland. I don't know. There was
Oh,
like a day of the week when like just the cafeteria was closed. I don't know why, but I
that
have
makes
the worst luck.
that makes no sense. We gotta talk. We gotta call IKEA headquarters because that doesn't that I don't know how I don't know what I would do because I go up that escalator or whatever. I don't know. You go what and I hit the cafeteria first. You gotta like fuel up to as you do go through. I gotta fuel up. I gotta get the Swedish meatballs. I gotta have the lingonberry juice. I gotta have some little dessert thing that they have, and so I'm fueled up, right? And then like you, I follow those arrows and I touch and look at everything as well. And then I like to go into all the little, you know how they stage the rooms and everything. I gotta go in, I gotta sit in every chair and imagine myself in that, like, yeah, I do the same thing. 100%. So we gotta go and do that together. Just leave the family. We don't need them.
Yes.
We might just spend the night in IKEA. I'm sure someone has tried to spend the night in IKEA.
I
But
saw that they did a promotional thing with a bunch of influencers where they like let them spend the night or something. This was
really,
like a while ago. But man, I wished I was one of those people.
me too. And like the blue, I don't know, I'm just gonna call it the blue IKEA stuff. That I've got the bucket hat. You've got that too, right?
I've got the bucket hat
Did you?
right here.
Yeah, you got the bucket hat. Sam's got a keychain. I'm really envious. I gotta find that keychain. They've got duffel bags. It's all that signature blue IKEA stuff. I love that stuff. Can't get enough.
Mhm.
Well, and the duffel bags would be really good for wrestling because of all your wet stuff. You could just put it in those and,
Mhm.
like a tarp. No, that's awesome. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if time will run out. There's a chance we could make it there, but I just can't believe Portland was closed. That's a shame.
Yeah,
Kind of sad. Okay, Sarah, you ready to do 5 burning questions?
I am.
Freestyle or folk style?
Freestyle. No chance.
Okay. You're on a desert island. Deserted. You're deserted. Desert or dessert? I think I was just talking about dessert, so now I'm thinking about that. Okay, you're on an island all by yourself. Um, Pizza or burgers and fries?
Burgers and fries.
Okay,
It's
why burgers?
more variety.
Oh, more variety. Okay, yeah, burgers, fries. Yeah, that's true. Okay, more variety. Okay. Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Cats or dogs?
Probably dogs. I'm allergic to cats, but I still love them.
Coach Phil or Coach Susan?
Oh, you can't make me choose that.
Oh, I just did.
They're like they come together. Like
You gotta pick.
they're
You
oh
gotta
no.
pick. You're on that island all by yourself.
I mean, I think we got to go with Coach Phil. He'll keep you entertained.
Well, this is true. I feel like Susan could actually help me stay alive longer,
Yes.
at least, but at least, we would have fun if it was Coach Phil. And
Yeah.
Susan is very talented. I feel like Susan could, all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Susan could fashion us a house out of something. She'd figure out the food situation. And not that Phil can't do that. He can do all those things. But Susan would
Well, I
be,
think we can also assume that Susan would just come and rescue us. So we got to leave her behind so she can come get us and take us home.
oh my gosh, Sarah Plummer. That is absolutely brilliant. And I think, is that where we should leave this episode of Inside the Den, Sarah?
I think so.
Leave it on a comedic high note. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for doing this episode. Who would you like to tag next?
I would like to tag Bobby Shepherd.
Bobby Shepherd. I think his new nickname should be Head Wrap. Bobby's new nickname is going to be Head Wrap. Somehow I'm going to see if I can make that happen in his episode. So, okay, you want to tag Bobby?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I actually am really looking forward to that conversation. I think Bobby is he's just a fascinating young man, and everything he's doing with school and his wrestling, and yeah, I definitely want to talk with him about the epic nationals match, of course.
Yes.
I think you made a good choice. Sarah, thank you so much for joining Inside the Den. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing before we wrap up?
Just thank you to you for having me and for setting all this up. It's always a joy to talk wrestling with you.
Oh, you too, Sarah. All right, let's see if we can make that IKEA date happen.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Sarah.